Greetings, brothers and sisters. I told y'all we'd be back, and we back again. Me and Eric, mad scientist. Yes, we back again. What's up, Eric?
Things,
What's up, Gabrielle Hamalakia?
what's going on?
Yeah, how everything been with you on this lovely day?
Chilling. We got old work.
How is it in Virginia? How the weather out there?
Raining.
Well, rainy.
Yeah.
Y'all should get some. Y'all should get some heat. Probably tomorrow.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I ain't even check it.
Yeah, y'all should get
It,
some
it
heat
was cold. It
tomorrow.
was cold down right.
Yeah, it's like the weather y'all have today. We had that yesterday. It's like sweet. It's like sweet from west to east. But we're back in the house today, and we're going to talk about some things that we were talking about yesterday. You know, Eric did the show scientifically proving that Esau could not be the white man, and the show was a good show. It was a better show than I thought it was. Right? I'm telling you, I was there. I watched the man perform, and the stuff can go over your head. I'm trying to tell you. You know, I went back and I listened in the house. It was quiet. I listened, and man, your words, Eric, bless my soul.
Okay.
They bless my soul, man. I've listened to that video. We did that maybe 24 hours ago. I've had to listen to that video like 3 times, man.
Uh,
And I've been listening to your other two videos you recently dropped over here. And and and
which one?
and hey, you're a researcher, bro.
Okay.
You are a real researcher. You know what I'm saying? And I have to take my hats off to you, bro. But
Thank
and we were talking on yesterday. You know how Apostle came in, and
Yeah.
we had this discussion. And every time that Esau the white man come becomes a topic of discussion, anytime somebody wants to contest the speaker of such said ideology, these people go into teach and preach mode, okay, and they go right into the Bible, right, and then and then from the Bible they go into apocryphal writings,
Yeah.
and with the white man and Esau case, they don't even go into apocryphal writings. They go off into writings that are called pseudepigrapha, right?
Yeah.
They go off into what pseudepigrapha. And pseudepigrapha is a collection of writings that there's no real author for these writings. What I mean by there's an author, but there's no real author because these people hide their works under other people's names, you know. And the book of Jashar is a pseudepigraphal writing, okay? But before we get off into the book of Jashar, I want to go off into the scriptures and we talk about Esau being a white man. Let me share my screen and how they come to this conclusion. They first start off with Genesis 25. That's the very first that's the very first way they're gonna go. Okay. What happened here? It wouldn't allow me to share my screen. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
I
There
see
we go.
that.
Genesis 25. You can see it? Going down to around the 25th verse. Talk about the birth of Esau. Let's start around let's start about let's talk about the conception of Esau, right? Let's start around let's start around 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. He took
Yeah.
Bethuel, the Syrian,
Oh,
of Padanaram. Could you mute your mic, Eric? Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, two nations. You know, they always throw this part out right here. The two nations, right? They do this to mislead you, to have you to focus on white and black. And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Two manner. Manner means way. Two different characters. These people will have two different ways of being, two different ways of existing, two different ways of living, two different manners, two different ways of worshiping, right? And one shall be the stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, comma, right? All over like a hairy garment. So if he was red all over like a hairy garment, then that means that all over his body, his hair was red, right? He had red hair all over his body like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out and took his hand, hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 60 years old when she buried them. That's like 60 years old, right? Isaac was like 60 years old when he buried these twins. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, right? I like that part about how when you was talking in your you with me there, Eric? When you were talking about how Esau was a cunning hunter, right? And you talked about the albino, how they want to use the part how he was red all over. They like to use that to say that Esau was a white man, basically, right? And that he was hairy and red all over. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. I like how Eric, how you was addressing about albinism, and you was talking about how albinism, people with albinism have eye problems, how they have problems seeing. Many of the One West groups like to talk about, they really like to talk about how Esau was an albino. They go off into some old stuff about the word, Hebrew word for cricket and leprosy and all of this type of stuff, trying to say that the crickets gave them leprosy. I mean, just all type of unscientific verbiage, right? And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. How can you be a cunning hunter and you can't see? Because these boys are teaching false information. A man of the field. How can you be a cunning hunter and a man of the field and you can't see? Jacob was a plain man. He dwelled in tents. And Isaac loved Jacob because he did eat of his venison. But Jacob loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob side pottage.
Hey, hey, Yash,
Yes.
I'm about to jump in on my phone.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go in over there. I'll pop in over there in like 2 minutes when I think you over there. And Esau
Okay, yeah.
came from the field.
I'm gonna jump out this one. Then I'm just gonna join it on through my phone.
All right. I got the full screen open. When I got the full screen open, I can't see you down there. So I'm gonna check over there in like 2 or 3 minutes. All right. And
Okay.
Jacob side pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint." Therefore, his name was called Edom. Now, here goes the trick, people. Focus on verse 30 and verse 25, right? They say he came out red all over, right? And all over his body like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay, now the word hairy, right, is shar, right? He say Sair, apostle. He don't speak Hebrew good, right? It's shar, right? Shar is in Arabic, shar, in Aramaic, shar, right? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. They play it as if though the first came out, right? The first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Edom. They play it as if though the word Edom was already there. You see how the apostle with his one West teaching, he say, but Esau and Edom is the same. They're not, right? We discussed yesterday how the word is shar. So it really reads in with the Hebrew thought, because this is Yasha's Israelite thought channel, right? If you had the Hebrew thought, it should read, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Hairy, right? That's what it means. It's not that they called his name red, right? Because he came out red all over. Because down in verse 30, it said, Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint." Therefore, his name was called Edom. He was called Edom because he loved the red pottage. And Jacob sod pottage. And Jacob loved pottage. The pottage were red lentils. You can look up Mediterranean lentils. I have it on my page. I should have brought it, right? And maybe throughout the discourse, I'll look up some red lentils so you can see, right? And Jacob sodded pottage, right? And because he sodded pottage and he wanted it so much, he was saying, Father, feed me. I pray, I beg you, feed me with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore, his name was called Edom. People don't understand because they don't understand what the pottage was. They were red lentils. We can go to the Hebrew text, and I should pull it up. You'll see that they were red lentils. If you did your research, they were red lentils. The lentils in America are like brownish, even greenish colored. The lentils from the Middle East are orangish, reddish color. Okay, so Esau was never, ever, 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 ever called Esau because of his red skin. You go back up again and read again in verse 25, right? For the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Hairy, Esau, Sair, not Edomni, right? Because the word Edomni is red. So in Hebrew, hold on for a second there. Come on in, I'm live, right? So we see red. So if you was to read that in the Hebrew, right? And when you used to read that, I had somebody at the door. I had to open the door for someone. If you was to read that in the Hebrew, it would say the first came out Edomni, right? Because Edom is red. Edomni is the real word for red. So the first came out Edomni, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Sair. They didn't call his name Edomni, right? Or these people try to play it like the first came out Edomni all over like a hairy garment, right? And they called his name Edomni. No, they did not. They did not call his name Edom or Edomni. They called his name Sair, meaning hairy, right? Because the scripture wants you to focus on this man being hairy, a hairy man, more so than they want you to focus on him being red. They want you to focus on him being red and hairy, right? And what was most important that you focus on was the hairy, because a child is not born hairy all over. You have children that are born red all over. You have children that are born black, brown, or whatever color all over. That's not strange. But for a child to be born hairy all over, that was the significance. And that's why they called his name Esau, because Esau meant hairy. Esau did not mean red. Edom means red. And we go down again to verse 30, and we see, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage. For I am faint, therefore they called his name Edom. They called his name Edom because he liked the red pottage. You don't believe me? Go up one verse right there in 29. It said, Jacob sodded pottage. Esau came from the field, for he liked venison, right? He liked his father's venison. Ain't that what the scripture said? He said he liked his father's venison, and therefore his name was changed. So the gist of this is that Esau was called Esau because he was hairy, not because he was red. Later on down the line, his name was changed to red. So his first they called him hairy, and then they called him red. The reason why they called him red was not because of red skin, right? Well, but because he liked the red pottage, the red lentils. The brothers show they like to show and advance their ignorance by not knowing that the Hebrew text talked about lentils, right? And for them to ignore that when I say that shows the dumbness and the ignorance of their Hebrew understanding. So we got it clear that Esau was not named Esau because he was red. He was named Esau because he was hairy. And later on down the line, that's when he's a baby. He was named as a baby hairy little boy, Esau. And as he grew up and he got older, his name was changed to red because he liked the red pottage. So we dealt with the birth and the naming of Esau. And it's clear that Esau, we got to get that out the way, that Esau, the Bible does not say that Esau is the white man. This is their number one argument. I almost want to pull up the argument from yesterday, but we can go back. That's what yesterday's tape is for. And that's the brilliance of yesterday's recording. We can go back and just watch it from yesterday. So we want to get to the generations of Edom, right? So we're going to go to Genesis 36. Let me share my screen. Back up out of there. Mad scientist back in the back in. I forgot all about you already, Eric. I was wondering why I was speaking and you wasn't talking. So you got Genesis 36. Share my screen. Go to Genesis 36. Now we're going to talk about the wives of Esau, right? Esau, who is Edom, right? Let's read third chapter 36, verse 1. It said, "Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom." So it's clear the Bible says that Esau is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, the Huite. I never heard of a Huite. What's that? A Huite. But these were Canaanites. Now, if Esau was the white man, right? Now let me finish. In verse 3, and Bashemoth, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabaoth, and Ada bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemoth bare Rauel. So what's the importance here? What you need to understand is that these are black women. Canaanite women are black women from Ham, right? They're Hamite women. You can look all over that Ham was the father of all the dark races. Now they're trying to lie in 2023 and say that Ham is not the progenitor of the black races. Now they're trying to say that the only one that could have, they want to try to play into the cursed Canaanite thing. But no matter how you look at it, the African Americans were called the cursed Canaanites. The curse of Canaan is written in your Jewish Talmud. You got them old writings. The world have known that Canaan was black. So if Esau was the first white man, right? And then he had this Canaanite wife and this Ishmaelite wife, which was Arab, right? The Ishmaelites were Egyptian and Shemitic. Both of those were black stock. So if Esau was the first white man, right? That means that when he married these women and he had children with him, that first white gene was killed, cut off at conception. Ain't that what that means?
Yeah.
That means that Esau's gene was cut off at conception. conception because he's the first white man. Do you see the fallacy and the lie that they tell us? That's okay. Let's play that God made Esau hairy and red and white, and now he the first white man. When he married these Hamite women and these Semitic women, which were dark skinned women, that white gene was cut off at conception.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell Apostle.
It
That's
was cut
exactly what I
off.
was trying to tell you.
You see it, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell him. I was like, how, if he did, well, how did they get rid of, like, just say if he did big sin, like you said with the black people, and they came out mixed kids, and it's not gonna just be. How did he reduce just white nations without having mixed kids, black kids? And
He
what
the
did they
first
do
white
with them? They would
man.
had to kill them. They would had to kill them off and throw them off for you to do that. And it don't
He
say
the
they did
first
none of
white
that.
man and he put his shaft in a whole bunch of black women, man.
Yeah,
And you expect to produce the white race from this
yeah, you can't do
algorithm.
that. Yeah,
That's retarded and that's crazy. That's why I
yeah,
appreciate that message that you gave yesterday. I'm telling you, man, that message stirred my soul yesterday, brother. You hear me? It stirred my soul.
yeah.
So if we're gonna talk about these dukes, right? And they like to play games and silly,
Oh
stupid,
yeah,
dumb
yeah. You talking
words.
about the Dukes? You talking about the Dukes? He was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Now
Yeah.
these dukes start off. Let's start off at
Now, when you talking about Dukes, what you mean? What y'all mean? Like the Europe, the Dukes and the Duchess and stuff? You mean like them people?
but that's what they mean.
Oh, okay. Now I was just
Yeah,
trying to figure out what he mean by the Dukes. Okay.
that's what they mean. Yeah, that's what he mean. He said that. He
Yeah.
talked about the Dukes of England and this and that. Brother,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what they call themselves in the medieval period up until today. Right? They called themselves
Yeah.
dukes, right?
Yeah.
Understand that Esau is written in English. Now these and go look at verse 15. It said these were the dukes of the of the sons of Esau. Now
Yeah.
this is called sonnets because this is the original 1611 King James version, right? So and
Yeah.
that's how they said sons back then. So it's Sonnes. We reading from the original King James version. Now these were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, right? Then you got
Oh,
Duke
you might have
Heman,
pushed.
Duke Omar, Duke Zepho. Remember that name? Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke
Yeah.
Korah, Duke Gatab, Duke Amalek. These are the
Yeah.
dukes. They came from Eliphaz, the land of Edom. To say that these are the
Did they-
same duke,
Oh my bad. Let me go to mute. Dog.
yeah. To say that these are the same dukes, man, that England produced, right? It's ridiculous. This here writing is from the original King James of 1611. And this was translated from Hebrew. So they say, right? The King James Old Testament is translated from the Masoretic text. What I need to inform you is that in the Masoretic text, and I'm going to share my screen, that the word duke does not exist in Hebrew. So the Edomites never ever called themselves dukes. I'm going to show you what the Edomites called themselves. Allow me to share my screen. When you look in the Hebrew text, right, the original text in which the King James comes from, you will learn that the Edomites did not call themselves Zepho. They called themselves Aloof Zepho, because the word was the Hebrew word called aloof. You see that? At the beginning, it's called aloof. In the strong concordance, I ain't got none. And I'm on air, baby. I'm on air. I ain't got none. I just smoked that one. I'll go get some. But hold on for a second, y'all.
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to tell people.
Yeah, so y'all got to excuse me. Go ahead,
I
Eric.
think you know. Oh no, I was just gonna talk. I was just covering up while you was coming back. I would just say
Yeah,
that's what I
I
was
had to
just.
check these people. And these people don't respect. These people don't respect, and that's why I got to get out of here, man. These people don't respect, man. When I go live on air over here, it's always a problem, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, because they heathens and wicked. They want to seek after silly stuff. But anyway, the Dukes, the Edomites did not call themselves the Dukes of Edom. They called themselves aloof. It was aloof. That was the word, not Dukes. So the whole idea that Apostle was trying to get you to believe that these Dukes of England is retarded. That's just like me telling you that these same Dukes of Edom is the Dukes of Hazzard, Bo and Luke Duke and Roscoe and all the Daisy Dukes and shit. Is that ridiculous? Wouldn't you say so, Eric?
yeah, I think so. Cause you hear me?
Is that ridiculous? How?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I
No,
think
I
so.
didn't.
Uh,
What was you saying?
oh no, I
Okay,
think
yeah.
so.
So, yeah, I heard that part. Were you finished?
Yeah. I was just letting you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So we covered the naming, the birthing
You
and the
you
naming
you
of Esau,
your your
and we know
your
that
thing
when
was
Esau
freezing.
was born, he was born red
Yeah,
Esau.
your thing was freezing a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you blinking out a
it's
little
gonna
bit.
be all right. It's gonna be all right. Streamyard got that covered. Yeah, they got
Oh,
that
okay,
covered.
okay, okay.
So yeah, StreamYard got that covered. I'll talk about that a little later. Let me get this out the way real quick because I want to make this quick so we can actually interact. And I'm almost done. Believe it or not, I'm
Okay.
almost done. Esau's the white man, right? So that's the when they go to that hairy Esau was red all over. God, Jacob, Isaac, nobody in the Bible, period, ever called Esau red because of his skin color. And that is a fact. And that's something that needs to be understood. That's the first lie that they're going to try to push off on you to try to get you to believe that Esau is the white man. And then we talk about the generations, right? We tapped off into the generations and the wives of Canaan, meaning that let's say that if miraculously that Esau was, then immediately the wives that he had to choose, the whole world was black now, right? So the only people he had to choose from was black people. So he chose black Canaanites and Ishmaelite women to have his children with. So therefore, you got this 100% one white man of the whitest gene in the world, the purest whitest gene in the world, have sex with all of these black women and produce half breed babies. They do. He did not. They do not produce white babies. That white gene would have been killed at conception with the minute that it had birth between those black babies, because that gene is no longer pure white anymore. Right? They want to lie and say that you are what your father is, but the reality is that those kids are going to carry those African genes of their black foremothers. right? So let's go. So we dealt with the Dukes, right? So we know that this thing that they called the Dukes just didn't exist because we were Hebrews. They spoke Hebrew, and they called themselves the Aluf and the Alufim, not the Dukes. The Duke, Aluf, Dukes plural is Alufim, right? Alufim. That's what they called themselves. Ha'aluf was didn't the word Dukes probably didn't come around to 3,000 years later, people. This is the ridiculousness of how they sit up there and try to push this garbage off on our people. Now we done dealt with the Dukes. We're going to talk about Zepho now. Remember, because Zepho was a Duke. Share, push present, get this on out the way. Now we talk about the Dukes, right? The Dukes. The Dukes of Hazard, the Dukes. We'll talk about the Dukes, the hazardous Dukes. White man, Esau the Duke. The crazy talk. Let's talk about these Dukes now. Since Zepho is this Duke, let's talk about Zepho because they like to talk about Zepho, but there's nothing in the Bible, people, that talk about Zepho conquering Rome. There's nothing in the Bible, people, that talk about Zepho conquering Rome. They get this stuff from writings called pseudepigrapha, rabbinic sources. They hate the rabbis. They hate the Ashkenazi Jews, but they keep running to Ashkenazi Jewish rabbinical sources. Allow me to share my screen. We're going to go to the book of Jasher, right? Where they get this laugh from that Zepho, did you ever read about Zepho? Zepho went and conquered Rome. And look at Rome now. They all white. Zepho went up there and turned all them black people white because the Romans were Japhethites, and the Japhethites were black. They were black folks. Yeah, the Japhethites were black folks, and the white and the white Esau came up here and turned the whole damn country white.
Yeah. That's kind of ain't that kind. That's kind of like what Napatali was trying to say with the Canaanites, and that's kind of similar.
You say what?
That's kind of similar what Napatali was saying about the Canaanites.
Yeah, because she's a camper. All that man folk is a knockoff, bro. They are a One West knockoff. And until they repent and throw all that trash away and come to Yahweh, they are a camp still. They still One West knockoffs. I mean,
I agree.
Their leader was straight up One West, man. Straight up. And it's a chip off the old block. I mean, the fruit don't fall or hang far from the tree. Let's go to the book of Jasher, chapter 60, right? And when the year came round, this is like 30 verses. I don't want to read all of it, but I should, so you can get a good understanding of it, right? I'm gonna focus on certain things that you need to hear. And when the year came around, being the 72nd year from the Israelites going down to Egypt after the death of Joseph, Zepho, son of Eliphaz, son of Esau, fled from Egypt. He fled from Egypt, meaning that he was already in Africa. He was a black man, people. He was a black man. He was already in Africa.
Yeah.
Son of Esau fled from Egypt. He fled from Africa. He and his men, and they went away. And he came to Africa with Dinhaba, to Angias, king of Africa. And Angeas receives them with great honor. And he made Zepho captain of his army. The king of Africa. See, because he was already in Africa, people. He was coming from Africa, right?
Yeah.
He was already in Africa. And we see Agnias, which was the king of Carthage at that time, right? He made Zepho the captain of his host. This took place in Africa, people. These are black people. Esau not white. And Esau, came to Africa with Dinhaba to Agnias, king of Africa, and Agnias received them with great honor. And he made Zepho captain of his host, captain of his army. And Zepho found favor in the sight of Agnias and in the sight of his people, meaning that Agnias and the people of Carthage loved Zepho. And Zepho was captain of the army, captain of the host, to Agnias, king of Africa, for many days. We see here Zepho went to Africa. Them people loved him so much that the Africans, King Agnias, king of all Africa, made Zepho the captain of his army. Now, people, they tell you that this was a white man, the first white man ever, because God cursed him and made him white, red, hairy, all over. First white man. And that this white man went into Rome. And he had babies with all these people and turned the whole damn country white. This is what they tell y'all, people. This is where they get the story from. The story doesn't talk like that, people. And Zepho, okay, so we gonna go in the at verse 4. Zepho enticed Agnias, king of Africa, to collect all his army to go and fight with the Egyptians and with the son of Jacob, and to avenge them. And to avenge of them the cause of his brethren. And Agnias would not listen to Zepho to do this thing. And Agnias knew the strength of his the sons of Jacob. Agnias knew about the Israelites and how powerful they was, and what they had done with his army and their warfare with the children of Esau, because they used the children of Esau to fight with them. Zepho was in those days very great in the sight of Agnias, and in the sight of all his people, he continually enticed them to make war against Egypt, but they would not. So we see that Zepho was trying to use the Carthaginian army to make war with Egypt, but the Agnias and them would not go to war with Egypt. Zepho was in those days very great in the sight of Agnias and all the people, and all of his people, and he continually enticed them to make war against Egypt, but they would not. And it came to pass in those days there were in the land of Kittim a man in the city of Pazimna, whose name was Uzzah, and he became degenerately deified by the children of Kittim. And the men died and had no son, only one daughter whose name was Janiah. Now pay attention to Janiah, because a whole lot of stuff went down concerning Janiah. The war had actually took place concerning this woman. And the damsel was exceedingly beautiful, comely, and intelligent. There was none like unto her for beauty and wisdom throughout the land. And the people of Angeas, king of Africa, right? King of Africa saw her, and they went and came and praised unto him. And Agnias sent the children of Kittim to take unto her himself for a wife, and the people of Kittim consented to give her unto wife for him. And when the messengers of Agnias were going forth from the land of Kittim to take journey, behold, the messengers of Tarnus, king of Babintu, came unto Kittim For Tarnus, king of Babintu, also sent his messengers to request Jania for him, to take unto her for a wife. And all the men also praised unto him. Therefore he sent his servants unto her. And the servants of Turnum came to Kittim and asked Jania to be taken for Tarnus, their king, as a wife. So we see that there's two different kings out here fighting for this woman to be their wife. And this is what caused this strife and this war, right? And the messengers of Agnias was going forth from the land of Kittim to take the journey. Behold, the messengers of Tarnus, king of Bebitu, came unto Kittim, and Tarnus, king of Bebitu, also sent his messengers to request Janiah for him and to take unto him a wife. And for all his men had also praised her for him. Therefore he sent all his servants unto her. And the servants of Tarnus came to Kittim and asked for Janiah to be taken unto Tarsus, their king, for a wife. And the people of Kittim said unto them, we cannot give her because Angeas, king of Africa, desired her to take her unto him for a wife before you came. And what we should give her unto him, and now therefore we cannot do this thing to deprive Agnes of the damsel, in order to give her unto Tanis. For we're greatly afraid of Angeas, lest he come in a battle against us to destroy us, and Tarnius, your master, will not be able to deliver us from his hand. And the messengers of Tarnus heard all the words of the children of Kittim. They turned back to their masters and told him all of the words of the children of Kittim. And the children of Kittim sent a memorial to Agnias, saying, behold, Tarsus sent to Jania to take her unto him for a wife, and thus have we answered him. And we heard that he has collected his whole army to go to war against thee, and intends to pass by the roads of Sardinius to fight against the brothers of Lucius. And after that he will come to fight against thee. And Agnias heard the words of the children of Kittim, that they sent to him in the record, and his anger was kindled, and rose up and assembled his whole army, and came through the islands of the sea and the roads of Sardinia unto his brother Lucius, king of Sardunia. Now we see here the king of Africa going and getting ready to go to war. We're wrong. And Niblos, the son of Lucius, heard that his uncle Agnias was coming, and went out and met him with a heavy army. Now, mind you, that this army was led by Zepho, and he kissed him and embraced him. And Niblos unto Agnias, when thou ask my father after his warfare, when I shall go with thee to fight with Tertius, ask him to make the captain of the host, which was Zepho. He wanted him to make him the captain of the host instead of Zepho. And Agnias did so. And he came up into the brother, and the brother came to meet him, and he asked him after the welfare. Or he also could have made him a captain of another host, like another part of the army. But the scripture is not clear on that. But Agnias asked his brother Lucius and his wife, and to make him his son Nibelus captain of his host. And Lucius did. And Angus, his brother Lucius, rose up, and they went towards Turnus to battle. And there was with them a great army and a heavy people. Now, I want to skip down here to the point, the very most important part right here. I'm going to start right here at 29. And the inhabitants of Bitinu heard of his fame, and they were greatly afraid of him. And they went forth to meet him with weeping and supplication, and the inhabitants of Bitinu entreated of Agnias not to slay them, nor destroy their city. But he did so anyway. For Babintiu was in those days beckoned as one of the cities of the children of Kittim. Therefore, he did destroy the city. Now, we talk about this African man that destroyed the city, right? But from that day forth, the troops of the king of Africa would go to Kittim, which is Rome, to spoil and plunder it, right? This is important. But from that day forward, the troops of the kings of Africa would go to Kittim to spoil and plunder it, to Rome. And whenever they went, Zepho, the captain of the army of Angus, would go with them. So, people, they're telling you that they lied. They create these series of logically fallacious lies, starting off telling you that this white man was created white in Genesis 25, so they called him red, but they didn't call him red. They call him hairy, but you gonna lie and say they called him red. They didn't call him red till much later because he liked it. He sought it. He loved after the red pottage. That's what they called him red for. Not because he was white, right? So this was a black man, right? Clearly, a black man coming from a black Afro-Asiatic family. And this is why he ended up in Africa. This is why he ended up in Egypt. This is why he ended up in Carthage. This is how he ended up becoming the leader of Agnias, king of Africa's hosting army, people. So Esau didn't go into Rome with a gang of white people and turning all of the damn nation of black Romans white. That is a lie, people. It was a black man went into a black coming out of black Africa. The scripture said he came up out of Egypt, right? And then he went into, he said he came up out of Egypt and then he went into Carthage. So some translations call it Carthage. He went into Carthage in the land of Africa. And then out of there, he came with a big host of black army and he went into Europe and they conquered Rome, people. Black people conquered Rome. Esau, black Edom conquered Rome, people. Now, we're almost at the end of this. I told you it's going to be quick. We went through the book of Jashar. And we showed you where they get this lie from that Zepho conquered Rome. Zepho did conquer Rome, but Zepho didn't conquer Rome. It was the king of Africa. The king of Africa conquered Rome, not Zepho. Zepho conquered Rome on the stead of the king of Africa with a whole goddamn African hosting army. So there were hordes of black people that went into Spain. Have y'all ever watched that movie True Lies? The white man was telling the other white man, mad at, talk crazy to him, telling him how his ancestors were Roman. You Roman, you Italian. Your ancestors was niggers. Your ancestors were Negroes. Your ancestors was African. Your ancestors were black. So the whole One West thing is just a great big lie, people. It's just a fraud. It's a lie. It's not real, and it's a cult. And I try to have my brothers like Apostle to stop teaching these cultic teachings because I'm attacking these cultic teachings. And I don't want you to be caught up in a friendly crossfire, my brother Apostle. But if you're teaching these lies and these false doctrines, you're going to get this crossfire, man. Because it's false doctrine. The book of Jashar is pseudepigrapha. It's not even. Let me look up something and show y'all something. Let's look up this word pseudepigrapha, y'all. Pseudo. Epigrapha. Can y'all see that? Pseudepigrapha. Pseudepigrapha. Pseudepigrapha is spurious or pseudonymous writings, which are just fake writings, right? Just spurious, just a whole bunch of fake writings, especially Jewish writings ascribed to various biblical patriarchs and prophets, but composed within approximately 200 years of the birth of Jesus Christ. This is the book of Jashar pseudepigrapha. The word pseudo means fake, people. Look up pseudepigrapha books, right? The book of Jashar is pseudepigrapha. These are your pseudepigrapha and apocryphal writings. The book of Adam and Eve, the book of Adam and Eve, the book of the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees. You know what I'm saying? What are Old Testament pseudepigrapha? Let's see what we got in here. Without is this a good source? Without having to read all of that stuff. Okay, you got the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch. Dashar is in here too. You got Jude, Sight, Enoch. That's a book. All these pseudepigrapha writings. Let me back up out of there. That's a little too much. I should have vetted it before I went there. I thought it was going to be something straight off the bat, but yeah. So we talk about this book of Jashar. The book of Jashar does not validate. I mean, where's they getting all of this Esau the white man stuff from? I want to show y'all something real quick. I want to show y'all. Uh, we look up this Edomite ruler, right? A list of Edomite rulers. I want to show y'all something, right? And show y'all how. Look at these lists of descendants of Esau, and you got all of these biblical characters, the biblical people. Zepho, see Zepho right there. See Zepho right there. And you got the kings and the governors of Edom. Then you got the dukes and the chiefs of Edom, right? And you got the governors of Edom that was up under Herod. Then you got the governors of Idumea, which was up under the revolutionary governor of Judea. Now look at this governor's name right here, people. This guy is an Edomite. His name is Niger. He is a governor of Idumea under the revolutionary government of Judea. And his name was Niger of Pyrian. Read it, people. It says Niger of Pyrian was a military leader during the first Jewish-Roman War. During the attack of Cecilius in 66, he distinguished himself, which led to him becoming governor of Idumea the same year. He led a disastrous attack on Ashkelon, which remained loyal to the Roman Empire. See, he was beefing with the Romans and everybody that was attached to him. So we talk about Niger of Pyrian, right? And after this attack, he was described as having filled all the Jews with an unexpected joy, as though they were preserved by God's providence, to be their commander for the time to come. He was like nigger of Pyria. His name was nigger, y'all. The word is nigger. With one G, it's nigger. It's not nigger. It's nigger. That's not Niger. That's Niger. His name is Niger of Pyria. And he was an Edomite, people. How do we know he was an Edomite, people? We go back to the top of the damn You want to, you know, the main idea of anything. You read the first paragraph or first chapter and the title, people. He was a list of rulers of Edom. List of rulers of Edom. And we talk about way late in the game, people. This is late in the game. It's late in the game that we come across this man right here named Nigger Apirion. He was an Edomite, people. I'm going to go through one more thing right here and we're going to end this show because it doesn't take much. I really didn't even want to do this show. I wanted to enjoy my day today. You know what I'm saying? But I had to do this because we got old men, right? Old men who don't know how to respect the youth, right? So I'm gonna have to give you this work, man. Right? Eric is younger than everybody on the page, man. You ain't had no respect for him. You didn't have no respect for me. So I'm gonna make you respect me, man. Don't ever talk that Esau white man lie around me, or we going to war. Right there on that damn platform, bro. You gotta explain these things I'm dropping down. Right? Now, what do we do here, people? We showed you that Esau was not called red because he was white. He was called red because he liked pottage. He was not he was not called Esau because he was red. He was called Esau because he was hairy, right? What else we covered here? We covered the wives of Esau, which were all black women, which would have cut that white seed off from conception, right? We talk about Zepho, right? And how y'all lied about how Zepho was the father of Rome. And he was not. Because if you go down and read further in the book of Jashar, they got his ass up out of there. They got all them Negroes up out of there. I mean, do you think that they liked the way them Negroes was coming in there? They had got a whole nother they had went and got a whole nother leader and a whole nother regime to get them Negroes up out of there, people. So everything that they're saying is based on 100% lies. There's no proof for it in history. There's no proof for it in science. There's no proof in the Bible. Then there's stuff about the Dukes in England. That was ridiculous because they were called the Ha'aluf, not the Dukes, right? Then we're dealing with this guy, Niger Aparian, right? Niger Aparian. Now we got Niger Aparian, which was an Edomite. They call it Nigger Aparian. That's his name. Ain't no white man, ain't no white Edomites calling themselves black. The word Niger is Latin for black. It was in the Roman, it is written in Roman histories. So they written his name as Black of Parian. That's what Niger means. Negro, nigger, black. His name was Black. Why would a black or a red man name be black? You ain't never seen no white person ever call himself black. Right? So we're going to back on out of here, and I want to just look up this one little something for y'all, and we're going to end this show. Well, I want y'all to look up something right here. It's called I want y'all to look up something. Look up the Fulanis, right? The Folby. Fulani sons of Esau. Now, if y'all can see this, look at all of this information that we have. Look at all these sites. The Fulani News, Sons of Esau. You see that? This is the Fulani News. They call themselves the sons of Esau, sons of Isaac, sons of Abraham. Right? And we go here to Fulani News Media.com. Who are the Fulani? Are they Esau? The origin of the history of the Fulani by Onyiji Naji, ancestral forefather of the Fulani, as they were made, as they may be called, was King Hadad. That was their ancestor. right? King Hadad belonged to the straight descendants of Esau people. Who were the descendants of Esau outside of oral tradition? The Fulani are also genetically related to the Negro Hebrew Israelites. They enslaved. Okay, we talking about people. Their sources are, look at all of this information. A prayer for Nigeria, history of Fulani, descendants of Esau. These are all the minute stuff is everywhere. We're gonna crack open one of these sites to show y'all. The lost and found children of Abraham in Africa. I'm gonna come back and check that out. That Sinkere. I bet you this is, we gonna crack that open and look in there, see what's going on in here. This here, I don't want to go. It's a PDF, so this is gonna be a lot. We're gonna back up out of there. We just gonna come with something simple and brief, just to show you that this stuff is everywhere, people. And this stuff is. Let's go to the Fulani news. Go to the very first one. This is gonna be short and simple. We're gonna be the grand finale. Who are the Fulani? Who are the Fulani? Are they Esau? I don't look like no white man to me. Amongst the ancient and contemporary scholars, the origin of the Fulani people may have been a mystery due to diverse opinions. Waziri Junaid ibn Muhammad al-Bukhari, right? That's Ibn Bukhari. The Fulani referred to themselves as the Tarud in their own language, the Fulfuldi and the Tarudia in Arabic. The Tarudia, I hate when this happens. The Tarudia are dispersed throughout the Sahel region of Africa. Notice that this is the same area that was named Negro land by the Arabs. According to Wazira Junib ibn Muhammad al-Bukhari, in an unpublished manuscript, he brings forth earlier sources of the origin of the Fulani people. It is said that the origin of the Tubi are from the Jews. It is said that they are from the Christians. It is said that they are from the Bambara, from amongst the Sudanese who came and settled between the Nile and the Euphrates River. It is said that they are from a band of Banu Israel who relocated from the region of Sinai to the land of Tur. For it is for this reason they are called the Torah. Torah is the land in the western part of Yemen, people. The most sound opinion is that they are descendants of Raum ibn Esau, ibn Ishak, ibn Abraham. In Arabic, that's saying that he is the son of Ruam, son of Esau, son of Isaac, son of Abraham. The most sound opinion is that they are the descendants of Ruam, sons of Esau, sons of Isaac, sons of Abraham. This is why I learned Arabic. So when I see stuff like this, I can translate it for you when they failed to do so. The most sound opinion is that they are descendants of Ruam ibn Esau, which is Ruam, son of Esau, Ibn Isaac, son of Isaac, Ibn Abraham, son of Abraham. And they settled near the meetings of the two seas. And the two seas that Waziri is speaking of is the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean, which could place them around the ancient Arab land of Tor. Notice that Waziri also said that they are descendants of Ruam ibn Esau, meaning they were descendants of Esau, descendants of Isaac, and descendants of Jacob, which means Ruah, sons of Isaac, sons of Jacob, sons of Esau, sons of Abraham. If you read Genesis 26:10, the name of one Esau's sons was Reuel, who was the son of Ishmael's daughter Bashemath, whose name is also Mahalat in Genesis 28:9. First Chronicles 1:5. First Chronicles 1:35, it is stated that Reuel had four sons. Allegedly, it is from one of these sons that the Tulbi, that the Tarubi, the Tarudbi Folbi descended, which is the Fulani. In an unpublished manuscript, Abdullahi Dan Faduyi traces the Tulbi to Raum Rael, which is Rael, who was descendant of both Isaac and Ishmael. The two sons of Abraham, Abdullahi says. So people, we can see this stuff is all over. You know what I'm saying? That the Fulani, the Arab Chronic, these writings go back to the Moorish Empire, people. These writings are not new writings. We talking about Ibn Bukhari, man. You talking about way back, man, like over 1,000 years ago. You know, these are not new writings. These are old Arab writings. You know, who are the Fulani? You know, we just read that one, so we can get up. We're running kind of slow. We about to get up out of here, people. I'm just gonna look up one more source, you know, about the Fulanis. People act like this ridiculous, like I made this stuff up, right? Let's go to IdaJ, right, .com, which is an African site. The origin and history of the Fulani. These are Africans. You look at them; they have a red color. This is what we call red, right? Reddish brown, mahogany, not white. People. Anybody trying to document a comparative history of West Africa should probably not be up to date should the journey of the erratic nomads from the Middle East be ignored. You can't ignore these nomadic nomads from the Middle East. Yet, inclusion of the nomads may not serve as a true history of West Africa, seeing that they were sojourners who eventually forced their way into the inhabitants of West Africa. But as long as history is never complete, excerpt it except it includes involvement of people at different times and their encounters with others within them, around them, untimely. And Africa and history of West Africa surely will incorporate the activities of roving nomads. Talk about the origin of the Fulani. You see where it talk about they have a legendary Eastern origin. They say the search for the origin of the Fulani is not only futile, it betrays a position towards ethnic identity that strikes many anthropologists as profoundly wrong. Ethnic groups are political action groups that exist, amongst other reasons, to attain benefits from their members. Therefore, by definition, their social organization as well as cultural content will change over time. Moreover, ethnic groups such as the Fulani are always coming into and going out of existence, rather than searching for the legendary Eastern origin of the Fulani. A more productive approach might be to focus on the meaning of Fulani identity within concrete historical situations and analyze the factors that shape the Fulani identity as the manner in which the sect spread across nations. You notice where it talked about that Middle Eastern origin of the Fulani that people like to ignore. Uh, you can see here it's talking about the species of cows the Fulani are known with were particularly was with was particularly Egypt. These were the Egyptian cows. They are different from the type of livestock found elsewhere in the Middle East or down here in West Africa. So the Fulani got their own breed of cows, and their cows are not indigenous to that particular Western Africa. They're Middle Eastern cows. A clear evidence is found on the engraved image dating back 4000 BC and beyond. According to the observations made by Dr. Neves Zedino, Nabata player are remarkable as the home of this special species of cow. Found in Nabata player also was the cow emblem shown below. These cows come from the Middle East. Those cows are not similar to any of the cow. The Fulani have their own kind of cows. You say the ancestral father of the Fulani, as they may be called, was King Hadad. The ancestral father of the Fulani, as they may be called, was King Hadad. King Hadad belonged to the straight descendants of Esau, the elder son of Isaac. History made us to know that Esau lived in Mount Seir, where he built a city after the name of Edom. Now, remember how they talk about how Esau would live in the cliffs and the rocks? This is what he meant, people. But these one West people, how you thinking that they was like the Jeffersons? Well, we moving on up, like they living in penthouses and skyscrapers and stuff like that. People, this is ridiculous. All you got to do is go and look at the rock buildings and monoliths and stuff like that Petra was conceived of. They had beautiful, elaborate homes that they built out of rocks and cliffs, people. I want to say this, and I'm going to let it go, that they go off and they talk about Esau as the end of the world, and Jacob is the next to follow. But that is not in the Bible, people. They get that from the book of Second Esdras, which is apocryphal writings. Nothing in the Bible prove Esau is the white man. And I park my car, land my plane, and parallel my bike. That being stated, Brother Eric, would you have something to say there? All right. Brother Eric might have dropped off. So we dealing with the chat now. Yavim Yahu Israel, Shalom, Akim, Aki, Shalom, and much respect to you. He said, make them respect the scholarship, Akin. That's what we're doing over here. We're making them respect the scholarship because there is nothing in history. We done went through history. We done went through history. We went through African history. We done went through scriptures. We done went through canon and non-canonical scriptures. There's nothing but lies from one West Coast proving that Esau's the white man. That being stated, this is Yasha ben Israel, and I'm going to land my plane Asking you all to like, share, and to subscribe to this channel. That being stated, Layla Tov, peace and love. Yarim Yahu Israel, peace, brother, peace and love for you coming over here with us. That being stated, we're out of here.